From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the Chief Digital Strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. And today's podcast, I sit down with my monthly co-host, Mr. Ryan Waterbury, and we are going to talk about the benefits of SEO and PPC, pay-per-click, for your business to generate traffic. Grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation that Ryan and I had. This podcast is sponsored by Stunning Digital Marketing, the agency that can help protect your WordPress website today. Go to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and see what we can do to help you protect your business investment. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I have my monthly co-host, Mr. Ryan Waterbury, and I'm coming to you from hot, not Atlanta, but Toronto as we speak, because we have humidex warnings in effect once again this summer to go with the forest fires out west, which we won't talk about. Hey Ryan, how's life?
About the same in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're almost Canada and feeling the heat and the forest fires out west.
We haven't got the smoke yet from out west, but it's coming. And I got to tell you, I have a brother who lives in Fort Saskatchewan, Edmonton, just outside of Edmonton, Alberta. And they're getting all the smoke from the Jasper fires. And it's Jasper's pretty a bad site right now, to be honest. It's kind of decimated.
It's pretty rough all across Western US and Canada right now for wildfire.
Yeah, I think it's just the state that we had another dry winter, and dry winters do not help forest fires. I will tell anybody that.
It was delayed because of all of our torrential rains throughout the spring, thankfully.
Yeah.
So
And we've had rain in Ontario, so we've got a couple of forest fires up north, but we're gonna get some rain. So let's jump into some more agency stuff. Ongoing discussions around SEO and PPC, pay-per-click. And I'm thinking, I want to tackle pay-per-click first, and I'm kind of doing a bit. So we all know the fastest way to ROI is find a budget and buy some ads. And we know that, pay-per-click. Now, there's multiple ways of doing pay-per-click. You can do Google ads, you can do Facebook ads, you can go to sites like Reddit now offers pay-per-click ads, believe it or not. They have a partner program if anybody's interested. Yelp certainly offers pay-per-click ads and so on and so on. The hardest thing, it used to be people wrote back in the day systems where get somewhere for $10 a day or $20 a day. I do not believe you can do it on $20 a day. And one of the reasons is the Fortune 500 companies has discovered what PPC is. And they've got endless marketing budgets. What's your thought on PPC and ad spend?
I have a lot of thoughts on that. And it's been challenging finding budget, where to serve your ads and how to serve your ads. I mean, I just had a Facebook memory pop up from I think 2022 or 2021 when I did a show with our friend Todd Jones on cookie marketing being
Oh, yes. I
gone.
remember that show.
And you could very vigilantly and hyper target people that visited your site when you would drop a cookie in their browser, and you could follow them around the web. That was great. And those $10 budgets went a long way because you showed your ad very specifically to people that were already engaged with your site, your product, your app. And you could do things like that. Now, with privacy being a concern because the wrong guy won in 2016,
Yes.
we've had some privacy reforms that we can't drop a cookie on you and spy on you like we used to be able to. So we have to take more time and do things
But
more manually. And
hold that
that
thought
really
for
comes down to budget. And when
hold
you
that thought
mention,
for a sec. But with cookies, not to jump in for a second, interrupt you, but Google just announced they are still going to allow third-party cookies this past week or the last 2 days. So that might change that whole landscape, right?
Mhm. So Google's gone through a few renditions like Flock, where you belong to a group of cohorts.
Mhm.
WordPress folks said, no, we don't want you to do that. We value our privacy. They shut that down. Google's continued to try and gather data so they can continue serving ads and making money.
Yep.
What it's really come down to, and AI comes into that, we'll talk about that later, but I still do PPC for clients. I had taken a little bit of time off and focused on web design development, but back in the saddle doing PPC, and holy cow, when I see a large competitor increase their budget, we know right away, because all of a sudden we'll have no conversions for a few days,
Mhm.
and we're just being outspent because our ads stop showing. And that is a problem when you compare with some of the big boys. They have a larger budget. So
Yep.
we have to get creative, and the targeting that we have without cookies gets a little trickier on how we remark and how we get educated on where to spend our budget. And it gets tough. So the little guys often get locked out, and they end up spending loads more money than they used to have to do to even just start to find their audience.
I agree with you. The other thing I would say, and I didn't include it as one of the top two, but you and I talked about this the other day this week, is we need to get businesses who care about local SEO creating Google business profiles, and they need to do it now. And then on top of their Google business profile, they need to go and create a Bing Places. What is it, Bing My Business or Bing Places profile? Same thing. Um,
Yeah, it's
they need to
places.
create one of those. And I know the business owner is going to argue and say, that's one more thing I got to maintain. No, you set it up. You say, sync it from my Google business profile every 24 hours. And people are going to say, well, Microsoft, that's a waste of time. And I would argue, because of Copilot in the corporate world, Edge is being used more and more. If you look at the browser percentages, Edge is going up. By the way, Firefox is dying by the day again. And Edge is going up bit by bit by bit. And I think because of Copilot and because of that, they're more relevant. And I'll give you a bit of uh, an analysis. I have a guy who's a good friend who's got a jewelry store, and you and I have talked about him although many times. And on SEO, local SEO, he ranked right now in his city third for jewelry stores. And so he's on first page. His Google business page is on first page. And interesting, he's outranking Michael Hill, which is a multinational in Canada and the US. And he's outranking a company called People's Jewelers, who's a multinational in Canada because of his Google business profile. So Google business profiles matter for local search, because people who search you, the two things they want is to call you and to go see you almost right away. What do you think about that?
Uh, it's not always just your Google business profile, but the fact
Yeah.
that people are doing things on mobile. And when we talk about mobile first, the browser automatically knows that you're on mobile. It has GPS location, so
Mhm.
Maps automatically ties in, especially if you're on Android. In North America, iPhone is more prevalent. Around the world, we start seeing
Android's
more
more
Android
prevalent.
use. Yep. So either way, Google is still the search engine of choice on either device, and by default, you're going to tie into Google Maps. Absolutely, if you have a Google business profile, uh, you're going to get some visibility. But Google likes when you use their products. And, we keep hearing about zero click. And what that means is you're staying on google.com to get your information either from AI, from
Yep.
a maps listing, or something that's above the search listings. And that's what your Google business profile will do. It's not, it's now a part of Google Maps, and that ties into proximity. Now, with mobile traffic being about 2/3 of the web these days, especially in North America,
Yep. That's fair.
your local business profile absolutely can outrank national profiles because you have a stronger presence as your primary location. The
Mhm.
other trick to that, and this ties in with some holistic SEO, blog, write good content on your site, and then post those links and share it to all your other platforms,
Yep.
Facebook, X, Pinterest. That was one search engine that you left off that offers ads for PPC. That
That's
can be
true. They do.
lucrative
Yep.
depending on your niche. But don't forget to post things, updates to your Google business profile. Even if very few people look at those, that's an indicator to Google that you're an active business and that you care about your profile and that you're enriching it.
Yeah.
And
And
that will give you an increase in search rankings.
yeah, I would also add we're talking about standard businesses that don't have any controversy. So businesses like CBP, cannabis, adult entertainment, if it's legal, um, guns, very much so. They all have health stuff. They all have different rules around them when you're doing
Mhm.
ads. And certainly our friend Mr. Donald Trump has caused Facebook to rewrite all their political ads. And by the way, those rules go to politicians in Canada too, and it's such a pain in the you know where. I don't even want to talk about it because I still play it.
Exactly.
I still play in that space, and it is complicated and it is
Mhm.
off.
It is complicated, and I've completely pulled out of the political advertising and SEO game and any work in that realm because the rules, we know Google changes the rules for SEO. You know, it used to be a couple of times a year they do an algo update. Now it's used to be, twice. Now it's quarterly, sometimes every other month, maybe every 3 weeks. We have enough rule changes in that realm to worry about the hyper specific political rules. But
Yeah.
it's not as bad as you think. Some things did loosen up. I think Google and Facebook realized that they went a little hard after the 2016 election. I did some advertising in that next cycle or two, and each successive cycle, I think they rolled back a few things that made it too difficult to advertise. So it's
Yeah.
still doable, but um, you got to get verified. There's just a few extra hoops to jump through.
No,
Um,
I agree with you. And by the way, the verification now they're saying can take up to 6 months. So you got to do it early. So if you're trying to get verified for this year's U.S. political campaign, too late. If you're trying to get verified for next year's federal Canadian campaign, I suggest if you're out there and listening, you should do it now. Like honestly,
right.
because if you wait till January, you'll be coming to me and I'll be saying to you, I can't help you. Sorry.
So I want to talk about PPC
Go ahead.
and how it can work and SEO, especially when we were talking about local. And I'm going to give you an example of one of my clients that
Go ahead.
it absolutely makes sense to do PPC and why. So I have a local contractor that does historic restoration.
Oh,
So
really cool.
that that really, when we look at the construction around our metro area and a few of our older cities surrounding our metro, there's very specific neighborhoods that the buildings were built in that this company services.
Mhm.
So what that does is it allows us to geofence.
Yep.
And by doing that, we already know that we have specific areas that we can place ads and show them to people in those areas. So PPC, when we're doing things like that and in certain scenarios, makes perfect sense. And you don't have to spend those thousands of dollars. It helps because the other guys that want to do just general replacement and construction, they're spending oodles of money. But in this instance, we're spending just in these areas and we're beating the big guys.
Yeah, no
So
question.
when you look at businesses, each niche and business is going to be a little bit differently. And you have to find that competitive advantage, whether it's geofencing to make sure that your ad spend goes farther. But what I'm really talking about is that we're targeting and we're cutting down our audience and we're narrowing down our audience.
Hmm?
So in order to make your dollar go further, you're not spending and letting Google figure out who your audience is. You're taking the time and doing the research ahead and doing a little bit of competitor and market research. We always do this, but it's even more important to do that now because we don't have the cookie. We aren't tracking. The machine learning isn't as accurate as it used to be. And when it does trip on something, it could be a bunch of bad leads or a bunch of bad clicks when it's a trick or something that trips your click that isn't relevant.
And
So
weren't you
we're
talking about a competitor this past week who
I
clicked on your clicked on an ad without naming the client multiple times and was causing your client's ad spend to go up, not down?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's happened a couple of times,
Yeah,
and there are ways to avoid it and combat that. Like we can talk about that in a future podcast, but
you should.
it happens where um, competitors will click in your ad repeatedly to blow out your ad spend and use up your ad spend so that your ads stop showing and only their ads do. It's I liken that to black hat SEO or just other shady tactics out there. And people do it, other agencies do it. I think that this is just one of those unethical things that gives
They
people in our industry
hire
a bad
VAs.
name.
They hire
Mhm.
VAs to do a lot of unethical stuff and out of the Philippines and pay them almost nothing, including writing fake reviews, by the way, too.
Exactly.
If I looked up at my spam box again this morning, believe it or not, I had
Wow.
5 requests in there saying, "Can I write you some fake reviews?" They don't say fake reviews at X dollars a review, and I'm like, you do realize these are fake. You do realize when Google sees these, you're screwed. You do realize this is a bad idea, right?
I, absolutely. And that's some of these shady tactics, people don't realize that if you get a black strike,
Yep.
you can't use a platform anymore. You know all too well with Facebook
Oh,
what
I don't
happens
even.
when your domain gets blacklisted. You're done. And if your audience happens to be on that platform, you're kind of screwed.
And
And
I should tell you, I'm not blacklisted anymore for some reason. So you got to write it out, and there's no point in appealing. And they say, oh, you can appeal. The AI is useless when it comes to appealing. So there's no point in appealing. There's no point in going anywhere. There's no point in doing anything. That's just the way it is.
so here's an interesting thing, and I want to touch on since we're still
Oh,
talking about Google Business Profile. But remember when Elon purchased Twitter and now it's X, and one of the things that he wanted to do away with was all the spam ads, and he said, "Hey, why don't we do premium profiles and you pay to get
by the way,
verified?"
let's stop there for a minute. Translation: pay Twitter for ads instead of putting out your own spam ads so we can make more money off you. So let's clarify that real quickly, right?
Yeah, that too. But I'm talking
You
about the
got me.
verified where you have a subscription, different, and you're paying for extra features.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Google has floated the paid business profile before.
Yeah.
Um, and we've been talking about Google for PPC here for a minute, but Meta took a page from X's book and Elon said, "Hey, we're going to do verified, and
Yep.
we're going to charge you for that, and you get some things for it." Well, we all know how terrible Meta has been when you have problems with ads. You know
Oh,
what?
terrible, awful. Go away. Yeah.
You send an email into the abyss and you stare into it and you wait for something back that never comes back. and you never get an
Or
answer back. That's
or
worth why.
or a form email back that says we're looking into it, and that's the last thing you hear.
But here's the interesting thing with the new Meta Verified. They have different tiers, and starting with the first tier is you get your verified badge, but here's the piece to that. Enhanced support, chat or email with agents, and
Yep.
where you actually have a person. And now they have monthly tiers which allow you to add multiple profiles. So if you're a marketer and you're managing a lot on Meta, this is basically paying for a support plan where, shoot, here I'm looking, eight profiles a month, 350 per month to be able to talk to a rep and
$3.50 a
get
month, right?
349.99.
99
And
today only.
uh yeah, then this is for today, but you can actually get through to an agent. Now, if you're one of those large PPC agencies and doing a lot of business, that would be extremely beneficial. Or even if you're not at that level yet and you're not doing the ad spend to already have a rep assigned to you, this might be something, worthwhile. Google has been very good with offering support calls, but I will tell you, they're not support calls. They're like a trip
Sales.
to the mechanic where you have one piece broken and they're going to upsell you to spend more money.
Their
Every
sales
one of
calls.
the, yep, every one of Google Reps recommendations is will help you. Don't get me wrong, you will see increased conversions and clicks,
But you need to
but
spend more money.
you need to spend more money. So when we talk about the ad companies, and that's what they are, they're marketing platforms. That's what Facebook is, that's what Google is. They're masquerading as, a social media platform and a search engine, but they're marketing platforms first and foremost.
So is
And
Reddit.
when we
So is Reddit, by the way.
absolutely, and Reddit, you Reddit back in the day, was chock full of Google ads all over. And, that's how they, funded the platform. Now they have native ads and they've struck a deal with Google where they've blocked every other AI search engine except for Google. And they said, here, you get our content. Nobody else does. It's it's becoming a pay to play avenue for everything from PPC to SEO. And so we need to kind of shift that conversation, not necessarily from PPC, but we need to talk about how it relates to SEO and the fact that that big leak that happened earlier this year for the Google algorithm,
Yeah.
there were things in there that, I had missed and I was made aware of, but most of it, we already kind of knew what those things were. And some of those things made sense for what we were already doing. But what really came down to is a click is a click is a click.
It's true.
And it doesn't matter if it comes from a paid click or an organic click. It's from the
Mhm.
Chrome user data.
Yeah.
And that was interesting where you talked about those Fortune 500 companies spending tens of thousands of dollars on PPC a month. How many clicks do you think they get out of that?
Yeah, not as many as you would think. Yeah, it's interesting when we look at clicks, and Fortune 500s don't always get the same clicks unless they're doing something special. So I remember I like to cheers to a plus size clothing chain in Canada back in the day. Disclaimer: at one time I did some work with them, so I got sort of disclaimer out there. I didn't do their PPC. Company called Additional. They're not in business anymore. They were owned by the Reitman family out of Montreal. And one of the things they used to get was mega clicks, but it was, and they're a Fortune, considered Fortune 500. The Reitman family's got some big money in retailing in Canada. But what they did really well was they created a legion of raving fans. So all the raving fan ladies who used to buy clothes from them would click on their ads. So that's a little different because then you've created a bit of a community. And when you get those ads fed to you on Facebook or fed to you on a website that you're watching, you're going to click on them because you're going to say, oh, I've already shopped there. So that's warm traffic. And warm traffic is a whole new ballgame, right?
Oh, absolutely. If somebody's interested, um,
Yep.
then it makes more sense to remarket to them.
Yep.
And um, that's where cookies were invaluable, where we knew what product you looked at on our site and at what time. And we could show you ads related to that all over. Now it's a little trickier with pixel blocking, but it's doable.
It's hard.
So
Yeah.
it gets more difficult. So when you visit a website and you're logged in on your browser to Meta and Google, you browse and you find a product that you like, and you come back to Meta. Meta is about discovery, where let's say I'm actually drinking Black Rifle coffee, and I was on their site to order some more the other day, and I came back to Meta, looked down, and all I saw were ads for different coffees. I didn't see a Black Rifle coffee one for a while. I did eventually, but I saw all sorts of different ads from other advertisers because they knew I was looking at coffee. So everyone in the kitchen sink, whether it was a perfect matchup, showed up in my feed immediately.
Google's a
And
little different though. They also track ads, especially if you've got a Pixel phone. I hate to tell you. I was looking the other day, and Google's got this really cool feature if you have geolocation turned on called the guide feature. And I think you know what that is, right?
Mhm.
When you travel around town. And I do so much walking that I'm always in my area ranked in the top 5% of the guides. I always am. And they will go through, and it's pretty accurate. They'll say you were at this store, you were at this store, you were at this store. And then Google, to go with that, has a really cool feature called Google Rewards. I think you're aware of
Mhm.
that, where you go fill out a
Yep.
survey. Well, they're feeding you those surveys based on where your Google guide is telling you where you're going. Now, I always do them because, frankly, Google already knows where I've been and who cares. And if they're going to hand me free money to pay my Google bills, go ahead, guys. I'll take
Mhm.
the free money every time, like for an app or a Google Play purchase. But honestly, like that's how they do it. And it's even more prevalent on Pixel phones more than anything. Now,
Mhm.
that all said, I would not give up my Pixel phone, my Pixel 7 for the world. This is the fourth Pixel I've had. So I've had a
Yep.
6A, a 4A, and a 3. I wouldn't give up my Pixel unless I could get a Xiaomi phone in Canada that worked fine. That would be the exception. Xiaomi's doing some really cool stuff overseas right now, but they are Chinese based, which means they are not allowed here.
Yeah, it's a little that's spying for the other team,
Yeah, but
apparently.
who cares? Google and
I,
Facebook are spying anyway. So what
I
does it
know.
matter
It does.
anymore?
Yeah, it's just who do you want to give your data to?
That's
That's
right.
what it
That's
comes
right.
down to.
I keep
And
saying,
honestly, yeah, everybody's spying, except if you're on a Linux box, like a true Linux box, then then you're in a whole different world. But I'm on my third Pixel. I love them. I think they're great phones. They've had some of the best specs out there, but you are tied into Google. I'm
yeah,
signed into multiple Google accounts on there. One is
Thomas.
my old Gmail personal account from when I was first invited into the program in the early 2000s
Yep,
from a
yep.
college friend that worked at Google. And
But
so that local guide account is pretty hefty. And I think one of the photos I have of Bud, my office manager, is at our vet. And that photo in their office has more views than any other part to their business profile
yeah,
because it's been up there so long.
yeah,
And
but
and
it's funny. It's so funny because the guide program is cool, but you know, and you and I have talked about this, and it's who do you trust with your data? And I would rather trust Google than Facebook with my data. Number one, I hate to say it, folks, but that's where I
Mhm.
stand. And number two is as somebody who's in and I tried to pull fully out of Google this year, it doesn't work. It does not work. No matter how people talk about de-Googlifying and they say, oh, you can create a local photo storage system on an NAS, you can do this, you can do that. But here's the problem. What do you do about AI? What do you do about and as you know, I'm deep into Gemini right now in a big way. So what do you do about Gemini? What do you do about Google's AI for photos, which I think is the best on the internet? I've had problems with other photo services. So,
It,
despite all the data, they do a lot of good things. Like honestly.
so yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the Pixel and we talked about AI, and I will come back to PPC and why I don't like AI in there in a minute. But I just
Yep.
happened to pick up a Pixel 9 because my Pixel 6, I happened to drop it and the screen cracked.
Oh,
So I'm with an
okay.
8 Pro. At last year's model, it was slightly discounted, but it's a great phone. Um, it is one of the phones that out of the box does not have Google Assistant. It is fully Gemini AI built in with the right when I open the box. And from a privacy focused person, it does bother me a little bit, but I gotta tell you, I agree with you. The convenience of hitting the bottom button and having Google Lens come up and actually
Yep.
integrates in fully into the AI to what is this and tell me about it. Google's been doing this a little longer than OpenAI and ChatGPT, so they're leaning on their index search data, and the results I get back are better than ChatGPT when I compare Gemini to ChatGPT. So that's where I'm tied in with AI. I agree with you. I
Why
think
don't
Gemini is a good tool.
so since we're talking about AI, why don't you like AI and PPC? What's going on?
So AI and PPC, like we said, Google likes to spend money. And what I'm seeing is I've been testing a couple of ad sets that work with AI. The leads that we're getting back on uh, two different ad sets, two different clients, two different niches, similar but not identical, aren't as good as when we have manual attention and control of the account. Now, that's not to say that we're not using AI and machine learning in those campaigns, but we are very specifically directing it and not just blanket letting the account do what it wants.
Mhm.
Because Google, like I opened with, they want to make money. While they will get results, they are going to charge you astronomically for those results, and the results may not be as good as what you get with basically directing. And some early tests that I've been doing over the past 2, 3 months, and I'm going to be wrapping that up in a case study here shortly. But you you need some hands-on, and AI at the outset, a lot of people were worried that, hey, it's going to take our jobs, particularly
I
in
don't agree.
copywriting, advertising. But I got to tell you, everything that I've seen and worked with on the back end of Meta AI campaigns and Google AI campaigns, they're not there yet. And for the average advertiser, it adds another layer of complexity. I should say average business owner trying to do ads, that it may look great on the surface, but you're going to spend a lot of money and get very few results if you don't know the platform.
Yep.
That's just kind of the sad fact of where we're at, that instead of making things easier, we're at the point where it's still growing and learning, but it's making things more difficult in my experience.
Yeah. Let's jump on to SEO. And you and I have some similar opinions and we different opinions.
Mhm.
So I think it's fair. I think we were talking before, and I think what I meant to say is that SEO isn't worthwhile doing. I just think it's harder and harder and harder to do it today. Now, one of the
I-
reasons I encourage small businesses to do the Google My Business page and the big pages is that helps local SEO. We all know that.
Mhm.
I think the problem is businesses are impatient when they think about it. So they're not prepared to wait for 3 months or 4 months for results to take. And let's be honest, we're still in that fray. But the other thing is, I think businesses don't set their websites up well. So good technical designers and developers aren't always good SEO people. So, for example, I looked at a website recently, and you know which one, I'm not going to mention it. Um, it had 1,000 images that had no alt tags in the images. And he wondered why he wasn't getting any search traffic on any of his products. Well, I can tell you why.
That's
um,
probably not the only thing that was missing.
oh, we don't want to go there.
Uh,
Anyway, where do you sit on SEO these days?
I still do a lot of SEO, and honestly, I've had hit or miss results, depending on the niche, and that's changed where Google Google's still the go-to, when we talk about who sets the rules.
Mhm.
And specific industries, post-COVID especially, have gotten hit. When we talk about anything medically related,
Yep.
they made a change where it said, nope, here are trusted sources, only national organizations,
Yep.
yada yada yada. And if you're in those niches, you got to work a lot harder. And honestly, that's where you
Tell me,
make the decision to
tell me
say,
about it.
yep, that's where you have to make the decision to say, maybe we should look at PPC versus SEO to get to the
I
top of
agree.
the page.
That I agree with.
But let's look at related industries, and we talk about health insurance or life insurance, and working with clients in that niche, we're doing some basic SEO. After doing the good technical SEO, like you said, getting your meta descriptions optimized, your title tags optimized, making sure there's good UX on the site, alt tags with the images, seeing a bump there, and then starting to do the good on-page content, building
Yep.
topic clusters,
Yep.
doing those things in one of the non-censored niches or realms, I think it's still worthwhile. But again, you need to look at what the business is and what the rules are. And so when I talk about Google changing the rules all the time, you got to sit down and almost monthly take your business and see what rules have changed and does this strategy still make sense.
Yeah. And
So
in
with
the cen-
my,
in the censored niches, you might unfortunately be looking at other ad networks and things like that. Like I know I have a couple clients in that adult entertainment industry, the legal side of it, and you're forever looking at different ad networks, non Google search ad networks, non Google ways, because frankly, they just sit there. It's ridiculous. And
sure.
these are businesses that are 100% legal and 100% not doing anything wrong. And that's just the way it is.
I yeah, and I work with that with the CBD and the THC, the
Yep.
cannabis industry
It's
as a
hard.
whole.
Same problem.
And yep, and I've done PPC, and really what it comes down to is even SEO gets difficult because FDA and state regulations vary from each area, where you are allowed to only say certain things on your site, and this is in the your money, your life category, where that's another category that's highly censored and
Yeah.
regulated,
Yeah.
where you have to really step back, build a strategy on, first and foremost, where can I find my clients and how can I connect with them? And then you have to choose where you're going to advertise and how you're going to write your content. So that's where SEO in those industries comes in. Well, maybe not the adult industry all the time, but certainly for
Let's go
health and
back to
wellness.
yeah, I wanted to go there. I did work years ago with a client who was in health and wellness, and these rules haven't changed that much. And one of the things you're not Google frowns on is when you start making guarantees, 50%,
Yes.
40%,
Hmm.
even on your website. It will SEO penalize you for that. And I
Hmm.
kept saying to him,
Absolutely.
you can't do that. And he's like, but I want to do that. I don't care. And I kept saying, okay, what do you want me to do then?
It,
Like,
Yeah, and I have a client that we were very careful about which ads we put on Google Merchant Center. Thankfully, they're revamping that and the program's new again, so we're going to reapply. But once you trip that flag, I talked about getting banned. It's very hard to get off their blacklist. Google, Facebook, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's awful.
Those two platforms. They're also where most people hang out and where you're going to find the most PPC value. Uh,
Um, what I,
You,
what I would say to you too is, having investigated some other sources, you're right, you should look at Pinterest. They have a massive agency partner program. I haven't looked into it lately. I've certainly been in discussion with the folks at Reddit right now. I'm running a couple ad campaigns that are strictly Reddit based, and those numbers are coming out pretty reasonable for the cost. So that's another avenue. They have a large partner program. I know Yelp does. I'm not a big fan of Yelp, but if you're in that restaurant hospitality industry, you probably want to be there. So you might want to think about it, no matter how much I like or hate them. It's another story. So, I mean, what we're saying is Ryan and I are talking about Google and Facebook, but don't discount the other platforms as well, because they could be
no, not at
beneficial.
all. And those platforms may be the only spots that you can honestly advertise. And so that's what, when I talk about, you need to look at your industry and, first and foremost, find your audience. And if you have a business that's, holistic healing, you might want to look at Pinterest for advertising
Yep.
because, a lot of people will use that search engine and pin home remedies. And within their stack of pins, you can slide in an ad. And that's a perfect placement for someone that may need something pre-made where they've been looking on how to do it themselves. DIY to uh, DIY spots like Pinterest to finding your solution that solves a problem for them. It's a great spot. So yeah, Google
Yep.
and Facebook are the big ones, but the other search engines out there, Yelp was one. We talked about Reddit. It's a forum and a search engine all on its own, and especially Pinterest. I've seen some good results there,
I have a
depending on the niche.
I have a new client who's physical therapist, and I think Pinterest is probably going to be the where we go just because of that niche. That's where people go for that kind of stuff
I
typically.
even from an SEO standpoint, uh, pin your blogs to a board on Pinterest. That's a backlink, and
Yep.
Google sees that as a backlink.
Yep.
So the more it, we talk about other marketers. Ross Simmons is one. He says, create once, distribute indefinitely. And the nice thing is posting on your blog to Google My Business, your Facebook page, your Pinterest page, your X profile, every everywhere that you have a profile that allows you to make regular updates gives you backlinks and also gives you more visibility back to your site.
Yep.
That's, where we can kind of game some of these systems and use their strength and visibility to drive traffic back to our site, but not pay for those PPC clicks.
Yep.
And, so it's all tied together. You really need to sit down and figure out what are the rules around advertising your product and where is my audience.
So
So
true.
those are my biggest tips are figure out where your audience is and figure out what the rules of that platform are and then build a strategy around it. And
Yeah,
it
and the
might
bit,
be that you can't run paid ads on that platform.
Mhm.
Well, then
and
you
to
have to plan
figure
for
out
that.
and to figure out your audience, you need to figure out your customer avatar, and that's a discussion for another show. But I think we should do. But I think a lot of people don't even know what their ideal customer is, and without that, you can't do your audience, and without that, you can't serve proper ads or SEO. Honestly,
Exactly. Really, today, you can't just throw money or throw spaghetti at the wall with random content in your blog. You really need to be efficient and effective with your marketing to make your dollar and your time go farther. And by doing that, you have to do the planning up front. that's more important today than it ever has been.
So true. Hey, Ryan, as always, thanks for joining me. I think people need to go to your website at One Dog Solutions and look you up and have a chat. And by the way, you must have given those office managers a sedative today because they've been very quiet, my friend.
We are hot and humid today, so short
Yeah.
walks do wonders to keep them quiet.
So true, so true, my friend. Thank you very much and have a wonderful week.
Yeah, you too.
This show is brought to you by StunningDigitalMarketing.com, your Toronto leader in digital marketing services. Not only do we protect your WordPress website, we can help you with your site, provide social media management for your business, or even do one-on-one consulting. To find out more, go to StunningDigitalMarketing.com. Very special thank you to Ryan Waterbury for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much. I love you, and I think about you every day. For more information about Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing experts, go to stunningdigitalmarketing.com or go to stunningdigitalmarketing.info to find out all the great places that Rob Cairns can be found on the web.